Hello everyone, thanks for joining us for another edition of Texas Insider TV, brought to you by the Texas Alliance of Energy Producers. I'm Jim Cardle. As goes Texas, so goes the nation is becoming not only a saying, but in fact economic truth these days, as more and more legislators and policymakers across the country are analyzing the Texas economy, the Texas oil and gas industry, and what exactly has made Texas the 12th largest economy on the face of the globe. State Representative Jim Keffer from House District 60 is the current chairman of the House Energy Resources Committee. He is the past chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee and knows what he's talking about when it comes to economic development as well as oil and gas regulation, oversight, and development. We're pleased to be able to visit today with House of Representatives member Jim Keffer from House District 60, chairman of the House Energy Resources Committee. Chairman Keffer, thanks for joining us, coming in today.
Thank you for asking. Appreciate it.
As I mentioned, you are the past chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, currently chairman of the House Energy Resources Committee. Let's just jump in right on that oil and gas point if we can, and have you give us a little update. There's nothing but a strong economy in oil and gas all across Texas helping lead the nation. What's your viewpoint, if you would, from the chairmanship of the Energy Resources Committee of Texas's role for oil and gas on the nation and as a state, frankly?
Well, thank you. Yeah, we are on a roll. We are blessed here in this state. 356 out of the 354 counties of Texas are now producing oil and gas, or oil or gas counties.
Okay.
Never been that way. Never been that strong. The rig counts are up. Even with right now as we speak, oil prices are down because Saudi is flooding the market with oil. We have a strong dollar. I was just out at the Permian Basin for their annual meeting, and things are positive. They're not. There's no false bravado out there. People know what they're doing. They're very comfortable with where the oil and gas industry is right now, and Texas is. We are a beneficiary of what the robust oil and gas activity. Matter of fact, Phil King, who's on our committee, had a great graphic that showed on the employment of Texas.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard this or you've seen that, but without the oil and gas recovery, there would not be any recovery in Texas. There would not be any recovery in the nation if it was not for the oil and gas in Texas, in the Dakotas, in Pennsylvania. So there's not another industry like the oil and gas industry that raises all boats. I mean, you go out to the Permian Basin, you can't get a hotel room. Every restaurant is full. They're building new apartment complexes. Infrastructure is heavy. Now we're behind the eight ball on infrastructure, roads and water and pipeline and all that, but that comes with a boom. And we've been through plenty of booms here in Texas. We will catch up with it, but it is a behind the eight ball situation right now. But again, it's just the widespread. People have jobs. I think the unemployment rate in Midland, Odessa is down around 2%. I mean, if you can pass a drug test, you're working. And it's just, that's how you deal with unemployment. It's not, the wage will take care of itself. And so it's again, like I said, we're blessed. We have a strong, we're going to be over the Comptroller's estimate by around $4 to $6 billion, however that's going to come out, wash out.
On the state budget.
On the state budget. We have right now probably around $10 billion in the rainy day fund, which is severance tax from the oil and gas industry. Even with taking $2 billion out for water, and hopefully we will pass Prop 1 on roads, and that will be money taken out of the rainy day fund. What better way? We are so fortunate. Other states have given their right arm to have the infrastructure potential with the money that Texas does.
And you mentioned other states, that's their right arm, not their left arm. It's in fact that good. And let me ask you, Chairman, if I can real quick, because you mentioned about the tremendous impact. It's not only right now, but you talk about the broad impact. We're not talking about necessarily a sea change or a 10-year change in the economy. This is going to impact the next 20, 30
Oh, yeah.
years with the technology and the build out
Easy.
down on the Gulf Coast. Am I correct? What are
Easy.
you hearing for projections?
Easy. I just think with the technology. I mean, like the Eagleford and this Wolfberry, all these formations that are so prolific right now. The oil and gas industry has always known they're there. It's just that they didn't have the technology to extract the oil or the gas. Now they do, and it is. I think they're surprised. I think they are. They can't believe what has been able to be that's happened with the technology that is out there, and what the the outcropping, just the tremendous success that these independents have had, and that's another thing. I mean, these are Texas companies, independents that have stuck their neck out and have rolled the dice.
Mm-hmm.
And God bless George Mitchell. He started all this, but I think he would even be surprised to see what all this has come to, because the technology is mushroomed much faster, I think. And now the neat thing about it is like where I live in Eastland, there's the old Ranger oil field that's been around since World War I. And I think they're going to be able to go back and, with new technology, go back to these old fields that are still producing, but not producing near what they used to. But people say, geologists say, and the industry says, that there's still maybe 75% still out there, down there, that just, again, the technology has not been there to extract it. I think it's coming, and it may already be here, but I think even these old fields will be a great benefit to this state and to the economy of the local.
Well, let me stop you right there or interrupt and pivot a little bit. You mentioned George Mitchell, known in the oil and gas industry as the father of the fracking technology, and there's been a lot of discussion, a lot of vetting in the media, some myths, some truths, a lot of discussion nonetheless. And you, Mr. Keffer, were the representative who passed, I believe back in 2011, one of the first, if not the first, fracking regulation for safe, productive, appropriate fracking practices. There's now been some interim studies on the earthquakes in the Fort Worth area, the fracking industry as a whole. Let me ask you to talk about the fracking specifically. There's misperceptions. Do Texas citizens need to fear the offshoots of all this growth? What do you know about the things that are in the newspaper regarding surface water, groundwater, all that?
I think the people of Texas should be very, Texas, we have been hydrofracturing. We have been doing that in Texas for 50 years. I mean, this is not a new, the idea is not new. The technology is light years better than it's ever been.
Okay.
And so as far as the oil and gas industry knowing how to do this and keep water tables free of effluent, there should not be a concern. There's never been a single case reported, substantiated, that there has been pollution
Okay.
in a water table because of drilling.
And
because of fracking.
And I believe there was just a report the other day to that
Right,
effect, correct?
right, exactly. The problem was a bad well integrity, well bore, cementing. Those were the problems. And Texas last year, and it wasn't I'm proud of the industry and the Railroad Commission. They did it without legislative mandates. They went in and passed a Rule 13, which brought the oil and gas industry to the 21st century and beyond. It updated all the downhole requirements, tubing, casing, cementing practices. So this idea, and there's some out there that think that Texas, because of the success, we're just some lapdog that we are not watching or caring about the oil and gas industry, whatever. We do. We are, matter of fact, on our disclosure bill that you're talking about, Texas was the first state to make sure that the industry disclosed what they were using downhole in the process. We were the first state ever to do that. Texas, you know, the epitome of the oil and gas industry, or the enemy that some would probably say on the outside. Rule 13, updating our wellbore integrity, and other things that we are doing. You mentioned the seismic activity, the earthquake up in Parker County, Tarrant County, Denton County, all that area up there. The Railroad Commission has hired a seismologist on staff now that is going out and helping, I think, SMU and some of these other think tank that don't want to get to the bottom, obviously, as we all do, of what is causing this. Is this something that we do need to look at, as far as whether it's fracking or a disposal well, or whatever the case may be? As the Railroad Commission permits these, are there other things to take in consideration as these things in these areas, as these wells come up for permitting? So again, I think Texas, I think the people, and we have so many people moving into Texas now from other states where maybe the oil and gas industry is the bad guy. Maybe they have had problems. I don't know. But in Texas, what we have to get over, what we have to do a better job of doing, is assuring the people of Texas that the oil and gas industry is being regulated. We are looking over their shoulder. We are making sure that they are dotting their I's and crossing their T's, and that the concern over water shouldn't be there, but the concern should be in this phenomenon of urban drilling. That's where I think we need to do a better job of making sure the operator is doing everything he can, that company can, to coexist with the surface owners in this urban drilling situation that we find ourselves in the Barnett and other places. So that's where Denton's come from. I think if you go ask the people of Denton, and I'll get on my soapbox just for 1 minute, I do feel the Railroad Commission has to do a better job of publicly espousing their identity, number one, what they do, and that they are good at doing it. And they are. We have tremendous people on staff. We've been doing this. It's the oldest commission agency in the state of Texas, over 100 years old. I mean, they know, I mean, we've been around. Railroad Commission's been around, and we got three, well, soon to have three commissioners I feel are going to be, that are there for the right reasons, and care about our state and care about the industry, and are going to do everything they can do to make sure that those two can handle each other, can coexist. And that's what we need to do in the legislature. We need to make sure that the oil and gas, we keep it robust for our economy and for all the great outlying things that happen, but we got to make sure that they take care of the safety of our citizens and care about our environment.
Sounds like we need to have you back for a future conversation about the history of the Railroad Commission. I believe the story of lore used to be that OPEC was even modeled after the Railroad Commission, but we'll get to that at another discussion. Folks, I want to thank you again for joining us today. We're honored to be visiting with Energy Resources Committee Chairman Jim Keffer from Eastland, west of Fort Worth and over to Abilene. One final question, if I can, Mr. Chairman, real quick, and that has to do with the upcoming legislative session. You're former chairman of the Ways and Means Committee from 10 years ago when school finance, a couple special sessions happened. We're coming up on that again. But what's in your crystal ball? What do you see for the state budget you referred to briefly a little bit ago? What's the outlook for the Texas economy?
Well, my crystal ball is about as cloudy as everybody else's. But
good response.
We will have the verdict down on equity on school on the school financing, and that affects everything. I don't care who you are, what school finance or the formulas or how that's going to shake out. That will affect every business, every person, every city, county. I mean, it's just an overreaching thing.
Repercussions. Yeah.
The repercussions there, the ripple effect. So, how the Supreme Court is going to rule, we don't know yet. They may not know till near the end of the session. So we will probably have special sessions on school finance. But I think we're going to be in good shape. We're going in with our eyes open. It's what they patted us on the head and said when we redid everything back 10 years ago that this would be it would take us to 2030 or we're way out into the
Okay.
light years. What they didn't know, and nobody knew, is that we were going to have 1,000 to 1,200 people a day moving into Texas, bringing their families, bringing their businesses. The growth's phenomenal.
A lot of them, we hope, into House District 60, correct?
Some have, but there's a little triangle, San Antonio, Houston, Austin, where
Okay.
they, I think, is more, more popular. But they have moved over all the state. But certainly we're growing, and in a growth economy like that, you outlive your infrastructure. You outgrow your infrastructure, and education is part of that infrastructure. And that's something we're going to, and I hope, with everything every fervor, that this time, that we can come up with a formula, come up with a plan that will keep us out of the courts. I mean, nobody benefits in this way. We have to go through this situation so many times and way too often. So I hope that level heads will prevail, and that we can, the wisdom will be there to get a plan to get us on a road where we can handle the growth, we can handle the changes, and keep us out of court.
Well, speaking of being out of things and outliving its usefulness, we're going to let you get on the road. You got some additional meetings here in town, but hope you'll come back in the future. Chairman Jim Keffer, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Love to.
Folks, remember to tune back in for future editions of Texas Insider TV. We've been glad to visit today with Representative Jim Keffer from House District 60, Chairman of the House Energy Resources Committee. Remember, you're either an insider or you're not. I'm Jim Cardle. Thanks for joining us.